After the Snow White thing, I'm gonna be honest, I will be shocked if she gets cast in almost anything.
She just couldn't stay quiet. Disney had made their move, but didn't say a word. No trailer, no poster, no countdown, no red carpet premiere, after almost 2 years of nonstop drama and damage control.
2.3 million dislikes. Imagine having that much of a dedicated hater base. That's insane.
She couldn't keep her mouth shut.
And now, Snow White, gone. The big Disney Plus remake everyone was waiting for just vanished. No global campaign, no marketing rollout, no buzz, nothing. Insiders are now whispering, it wasn't a delay, it was a cancellation. The release date passed, and Disney stayed silent. Not even a single tweet. Why? Because of one name they can't afford to stand behind anymore. Rachel Zegler. And it's lonely. Very lonely. She was already one of the most controversial stars Disney had ever cast. But after that Evita meltdown in London, the studio reportedly reached its breaking point. Sources close to Disney say the company is terrified of sparking another backlash by promoting Rachel, even on streaming. One insider even called her a ticking part-time bomb. And with Zegler still trending for all the wrong reasons, who can blame them? Backstage screaming matches, cast walkouts, a $50 million lawsuit against her own agent. Disney apparently decided the risk just wasn't worth it anymore. But they didn't just delay the release, they buried it. Because to them, Snow White ain't a fairy tale anymore. It's a brand liability. But guess what? That's not the whole story. The real reason Disney pulled the plug goes much deeper. It all started when Rachel Zegler showed the world she hadn't changed. Address all. If you want to stay in the loop with more juicy stories, don't forget to subscribe to my channel Fame Feast. More bombshells are coming. Way before the Evita drama blew up, long before that $50 million lawsuit hit the headlines. Rachel Zegler's image was already on life support. It all started with the interviews. When the first trailers for Snow White dropped, fans were hoping for pure Disney magic. But what they got? Something else entirely. Rachel openly mocked the original film, calling it weird, creepy, and dated. She straight up said the prince was a stalker and bragged that the movie was being rewritten for modern times. And according to her, Snow White didn't need saving anymore. The internet exploded, and not in a good way. Fans weren't just upset. They were flat out offended. A story beloved for generations tossed aside with a smug little smirk. But it didn't stop there. Red carpet clips started going viral, but not for fashion. It was Rachel's attitude. Sarcastic, dismissive, cold. The girl once hyped as Spielberg's breakout star now came off as arrogant and entitled. Even longtime supporters started pulling back. People began calling her ungrateful, online, totally disconnected from the Disney audience, the very crowd she was supposed to charm. And behind the scenes, things were even messier. Multiple production sources said she was tough to direct, hyper-controlling, and constantly clashing with senior crew. Yet Disney pushed forward, hoping the drama would just fade. They thought a slick PR campaign could save both Rachel and the film. But it didn't fade. It only got worse. If Rachel Zegler's reputation was already hanging by a thread, Evita didn't just cut it, it set the whole thing on fire. This West End production was supposed to be her big comeback, a chance to leave the backlash behind and show the world she could own a live stage with elegance, discipline, and grace. But what really happened backstage? It wasn't just messy, it was a complete catastrophe. Be normal. Normal things are happening. But nothing about this was normal. Reports started leaking just weeks after rehearsals began. Whispers of tension, walkouts, Pure chaos behind closed doors. Crew members were allegedly quitting mid-run. One insider claimed Rachel screamed at a lighting operator for missing her cue. Another source said she straight up refused to rehearse certain scenes if the creative direction didn't match her vision. Then it got even uglier. The leaks started pouring in. Private rehearsal notes, anonymous testimonials from cast and crew. One alleged email even called the environment hostile, saying Zegler's presence was unsustainable for the entire production. And here's the wild part. The same patterns folks had warned about during Snow White were now playing out live on a London stage. But this time, there was no Disney studio to shield her, no PR team to cover the mess, no corporate safety net. It was Rachel, unfiltered, unchecked, and spiraling out of control. And the headlines came roaring back. But they weren't about fairy tales or film anymore. They were about straight-up meltdowns, walkouts, and an actress reportedly so tough to work with, she was driving professionals straight out of the room. The backlash didn't just come back, it got even louder. Even fans who had defended her during the Snow White drama were now stunned. 'Cause this time, it looked like Rachel hadn't learned a thing. And Disney noticed. Big time. According to one insider, Evita was the moment when Disney execs finally realized Rachel Zegler wasn't just a little PR hiccup. She was a full-on long-term liability. And that's when the talk reportedly started. To pull the plug on Snow White's streaming debut before the headlines spiraled out of control. Behind the scenes at Disney, full-on panic was setting in. The Evita mess had barely cooled down when execs reportedly called an emergency meeting to reassess the Snow White release. Not because the movie wasn't finished, not because of technical delays, but because they couldn't risk one more Rachel headline blowing everything up. And just like that, the release went dark. No official cancellation, no press release, no postponed post on socials. The film, once hyped as a Disney Plus centerpiece, just vanished from promotion. Industry insiders say this wasn't a glitch. It was 100% strategic. A Disney Plus source even claimed the movie was quietly scrubbed from the internal release calendar, with a note that read, "Red hold indefinitely, pending talent resolution." In other words, they ain't releasing it until Rachel Zegler stops being a problem. Disney execs are reportedly terrified that launching Snow White now, with Rachel still at the center of so many controversies, would do more damage than good. One insider put it bluntly, "Every time she trends, it's negative. Every interview clip is a PR grenade." And it gets worse. They're scared that releasing the movie would spark fresh heat over why Disney backed her in the first place and whether they knew how bad things had gotten behind the scenes. So what's the new strategy? Total silence. They've hit pause on all marketing. Press tour plans? Scrubbed. Internally, staff have reportedly been told to shift focus to other releases and stay completely quiet about Snow White. And with Rachel still tangled up in lawsuits, public beefs, and straight-up social media meltdowns, this silence might drag on way longer than anyone expected. 'Cause if Disney's learned anything in the past year, it's this. Every time Rachel Zegler opens her mouth, the internet listens, and not in the way they want. But this isn't just about one movie anymore. Disney's worried about the whole brand falling apart. The past 2 years have been brutal. Political scandals, box office flops, dropping subscriber numbers, and tanking stock prices. Through it all, Snow White was supposed to be the big win. A feel-good nostalgic hit, a safe bet. Instead, it turned radioactive. The casting backlash, the rewritten plot, the removal of beloved characters. the constant accusations of woke marketing, and at the center of it all, Rachel Zegler's face plastered everywhere. Rachel Zegler. Disney execs had hoped time would heal it all, that the heat would fade, that the audience would come around. But after the Ada scandal, the lawsuit against her own agent, and that now infamous quote, "Don't need no prince to save me," the whole situation became impossible to spin. And that's when the real questions started flying behind closed doors. If we release this movie, are we doing more harm to the brand than good? The answer? Apparently, yes. Insiders say marketing teams straight up warned Disney execs. If we platform her now, we reignite the backlash. It won't be about the film, it'll be about her. And in an era where every single decision gets torn apart online, Disney just couldn't risk another firestorm. They couldn't risk headlines screaming, "Disney doubles down on controversial star." Snow White released, despite allegations, more drama than magic. So instead of fighting the storm, they slammed the castle gates shut. And here's where it gets even uglier. Sources now say Disney is seriously considering cutting their losses entirely. Some execs are pushing to re-edit or even bury the film for good. 'Cause the damage ain't just about reputation anymore, it's financial. Millions poured into a film that nobody wants to touch. A lead actress who can't go on a press tour. A remake so tainted, it's unmarketable. And the audience? They've already decided they don't trust the product, and they sure don't want to see her face again. It didn't take long for fans to notice. Snow White's release date came, and nothing happened. No streaming debut, no cast interviews, just silence. And for fans who'd been following the Rachel Zegler controversy for months, the message couldn't have been clearer. Disney had pulled the plug. Across social media, users started connecting the dots fast. Reddit threads lit up. TikTok videos speculated that the film had been quietly shelved. On Twitter, one post went viral with a brutal caption. Disney watched the Evita meltdown and said, "Never mind." And while Disney kept refusing to comment, the fans weren't holding back. Some cheered the move, calling it long overdue, saying Zegler's behavior made her unfit to front any major franchise. Others said Disney finally did what they should have done months ago, cut their losses. One YouTube comment under an old Snow White teaser said it best. "This aged like milk. Where's the movie? Oh, right, in PR jail." But not everyone was celebrating. A few hardcore fans accused Disney of being cowards, blaming the studio for letting internet hate drive creative decisions. They argued that if Zegler was difficult, Disney should have known before casting her, not abandoned her when things got tough. Even so, the louder voices were asking the real question, why is Disney still pretending like nothing happened? Meanwhile, internal leaks only poured more gas on the fire. One alleged memo from a Disney Plus marketing manager called the Snow White situation unsalvageable and warned teams to shift focus to safer, lower-risk projects. And trust me, this story is far from over. If you want to keep up with all the latest tea, make sure to subscribe to my channel, Fame Feast. You won't want to miss what's coming next.